You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Come on, then. I'll bite your legs off!
I can take it.
Great power comes great responsibility. We have a fault. Get to the chopper! And we... It's a flesh wound. I am the father.
Bionic Monster, a menacing giant, an awesome machine, unleashed with a deadly task. Godzilla, the only hope for Earth's survival. Godzilla versus the Bionic Monster. Godzilla strives to win supremacy in a fight to the end. Will Godzilla triumph? The Earth survive? Godzilla versus the Bionic Monster, an earth-shaking movie, rated G.
And welcome back to the Monster Movie Stompdown section of Sludgecast. And of course, you got Sludge here, and my co-host on the right,
Mark,
and our brother from Texas,
Ruben.
And we are stoked for this one because we had a little bit of a decline in Godzilla films, a couple ones back, and we're definitely on the huge incline on this one. We've got Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla from 1974, which introduced, obviously, Mechagodzilla, who ended up becoming what a lot of people refer to as part of the big three as far as Godzilla's main villains. He's probably Godzilla's most popular villain outside of King Ghidorah, for a reason. I mean, he's been in multiple films. You got this one, Terror of Mechagodzilla, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 in 92. Then, of course, we get him in Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which is the third version of him, and then Godzilla Tokyo SOS. And then technically, we got him in Godzilla, the second anime film, City on the Edge of Battle, even though he was kind of like a nano city instead. And then we got to see him in Ready Player One. They did an iteration of him in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert for those future fans of Godzilla vs. Kong, he may be in the film, according to some leaked images, but we'll see. But this is what started it all for Mechagodzilla. And man, this movie is amazing, in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. So this one came out, of course, after, Godzilla vs. Megalon. So definitely a huge step up for this film from what we got last. But this one came out in 1974, March 12th, 21st, something like that. It was somewhere in March in Japan, and saw a much higher increase in ticket sales in comparison to Godzilla vs. Megalon. I think like 350,000 more. So that was a good sign for Toho. Of course, we had the same directors coming back. Again, we got Jun Fukuda, who really became Ishiro Honda definitely is the best director in any Godzilla film, I think, even to date to today, with Legendary or the animated films or, the Heisei series. Ishiro is the best Godzilla director there ever was. But I think Jun Fukuda, in my personal opinion, is the very close second. He was a very different style, but he knew how to direct a good action Godzilla film. And if anything, this is probably the most action-packed Godzilla film of the Showa series. So he came back and directed, and of course it was written by, this time around, of course, we've got Shinichi Sekizawa, who's famous for a lot of the Godzilla films. I mean, all the way back to Godzilla versus the Thing. And I mean, he's been with the series for a long time. So great writer for these movies. But Jun Fukuda actually wrote this with him, which I thought was great. Because Jun Fukuda hasn't wrote a Godzilla film except for Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, if I'm correct. And that was a really good one, considering it was the first one where he's not in the city, and was very entertaining. So anyways, this came out in, is that right, Ruben? Is it Godzilla Sea Monster, the other one he wrote?
I believe so.
Okay.
That's the one that comes to mind anyway.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
And that was a great one, man, especially considering there's no city destruction. That was really good. A lot of people talk about how much the storyline of that movie is actually very enjoyable, and it is. So great combination, having Fukuda and Sekizawa both writing this film, of course, with Fukuda directing, and then, of course, we've got Tanaka back producing the film. And of course, it came out in 1974, came out here in America in 1977. And of course, there was some slight differences like any of them. The Japanese version runs at 84 minutes. The American version runs at 80 minutes. But it was interesting when CinemaShares, who had picked up the previous Godzilla films, after AIP stopped picking them up, which was Godzilla vs. Gigan, is when Cinema Sierra started picking up these movies. They changed the name to Godzilla vs. Bionic Monster. And we were talking about this before the show. They actually got sued by, Mark, you said Universal TV,
Universal
right?
TV, yep.
Yeah. For the Bionic 1 was out at the time. So they ended up having, after a year, so for a year, it was released as Godzilla vs. Bionic Monster, but then they changed the name to Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster,
Right.
which a lot of us, Ruben, I think you actually said you still have your VHS is the
VHS.
Cosmic Monster, right?
Yeah, it's Cosmic Monster. Yeah.
Which is
and the
super
correction
cool.
before we get any further, he actually wrote Megalon, not Sea Monster.
Oh, was it Megalon Fukuda wrote?
And it was me. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's probably why
I looked up his credits. Yeah, it was. I looked up his credits. For some reason, I get Sea Monster and Megalon mixed up. For some reason, I don't know why, but it's actually Megalon.
That actually
he wrote.
That makes sense considering how action packed that third act of Megalon is.
Was. Yeah.
That's definitely a Fukuda style there. But yeah, so Cinema Sierra had to change it to that title. So there's copies of it out there, only on VHS if you can find it under the title card of Godzilla's Cosmic Monster. Me and Ruben were talking last night on the phone, and of course I'm always updating my Godzilla library on my Plex server, and I managed to find there's a group that have been going above and beyond, and it's absolutely awesome for the hardcore Godzilla fanatics. If you want an AIP dub of the old films or these Cinema Share dubs, you're unfortunately stuck with the VHS copies.
Exactly.
And Mark's showing here. Oh, so Fukuda did the screenplay on this, but Sekizawa did the story. Okay, that's how they did it.
I was trying to squeeze that in there while you were.
Yeah, he was pulling up the phone, making sure that I'm right on this information. They work together, but yes, Fukuda did the screenplay and Sekizawa did the story. I think that's what Sekizawa did on all of them. He wrote the story for pretty much everything, at least all the good. I know he didn't do Godzilla Raids Again, which shows. But anyways, there's a release group out, or a couple of them. There's two of them actually, that have been going above and beyond and taking like the Toho Blu-ray masters. Or now the Criterion collection's out, and they're taking these true high definition versions of the films, and they're re-editing them because there is editorial differences between these American dubs from AIP and Cinema Shares than the Japanese versions, and that's a lot of work. For those who've heard me talk in the past, I have my own version of 1985 where I edited out the American scenes, and you would think that would be easy just to take the American scenes out. But it's much more difficult because there are scenes that are placed at different time slots in the film and things are shortened and moved around. I mean, it took me a couple months to edit out Godzilla 1985 the way I wanted it. So these dudes, hats off to them. They're doing a phenomenal job, but they're releasing these online that you can find that are true high definition versions with the original audio dubbing from AIP or Titra Dubbing or Titan Studios as it was later called, or the Cinema Shares ones, and it's absolutely awesome. So I actually came across recently the Cinema Shares Godzilla versus the Cosmic Monster that these guys had done, and it was awesome. The only thing that kind of stunk when I was talking to Ruben about it last night was there was no way to do a high definition transfer of the Godzilla vs. Cosmic Monster title card because it doesn't exist. Yeah. There's only the original, 35 millimeter release. VHS. So on that split, what is that part, Ruben? Maybe 2-3 seconds of the movie.
It's just
they just made their own title card that comes up on the screen. It's got like the original poster of Godzilla vs. Cosmic Monster, and it says the title card in the font. So other than that, it's awesome to see. I mean, that was still pretty cool too, though. But so, I mean, if you're a hardcore fan and you want high definition versions of these original dubs of these films, they're out there. You just need to know where to look.
And the fact that they did that, to me, it's a credit to them.
Oh, absolutely.
Because,
man.
what I'm saying, the fact that they did that, and they even said, okay, you know what, we'll just do our own title card. That goes to their dedication to, so you know what, we got to do this right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have said, you know what, everybody will understand. We'll just put out this title card.
Oh, yeah, and the fans love it. Us hardcore fans love it. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally understand why you did it this way, but it's absolutely awesome. There's a group called Red Menace. I think they're from Russia, the guys that do Red Menace, or maybe it's just one guy, but he did a high definition transfer of Godzilla 1985 from an original. I don't know how he got hold of it. I may have talked about it before, of a 35 millimeter print. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely. It's got the Bambi versus Godzilla cartoon on it. The title card. I mean, it's the whole thing. But he got ripped it from the 35 millimeter print, and it looks amazing. He's in the process. I don't know if he started it yet, but he is doing a 4K version of 1985.
Wow.
Which will be, it's on this project list, which will be absolutely amazing. So hats off to those dudes, man. I mean, those are hardcore fans, and I really wish Toho would kind of give those dudes some credit. Because that's a lot of work to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Cosmic Monster, you can only get it on VHS. Ruben's got a copy. I've got a copy somewhere because I got a stack of a lot of my old Godzilla films still from VHS. But anything you've seen in the last 10, 20 years has been the TriStar DVD or the Showa. Well, that's just Japanese on Showa, but the TriStar DVD brought it over the international dub and had the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla title card. That's what it showed on Sci-Fi Channel back in the day.
Exactly.
Same movie, just a little bit of differences, and we'll jump in.
And the TriStar transfer is actually very good.
It is.
Considering it's TriStar, it's a very good transfer. I watched both versions. I got the Criterion, so I watched Criterion and that one. And the Criterion's a Blu-ray, and the TriStar is a DVD. And on my TV, I was looking at it. I said, "Man, there's not much difference. This looks great. It looks really good."
Well, for the longest time, and even still now, that TriStar DVD of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla was the most expensive Godzilla film to get. Once it was out of print, I think the highest I saw that movie shoot up to was about $150.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know it's still kind of high still now. Now it's still, I think it's down to probably around the $50 to $75 range. But that was the highest costing Godzilla film for a fan to get, specifically that version, because of the quality and the rarity of it.
Yeah. It is good quality. And a lot of those 50th anniversary ones are starting to climb up in price there.
Yeah, Son of a Godzilla is another one. Son of a Godzilla is $30 to $50 if you can find it on DVD. It was pretty high too because I think that one was got discontinued at the same time as Mechagodzilla. There was much more printing of Hedorah and then Godzilla vs. Gigan than Son of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But of course, Mechagodzilla being the superior of all those films, in my opinion. But yeah, so let's jump into what this movie's about because we all want to know. If you haven't seen it, well, we all have seen it, but for those few listeners who's never seen this one, let's give you a quick rundown. Okay, movie starts off with a princess, not a princess. She's an heir to a family, a royal family from Okinawa. That she's doing like a little singing dance, and all of a sudden she freaks out and sees a prophecy of a monster destroying the city. And while all this is going on, there's an archaeological dig happening very nearby, which we meet our main character, and well, some of our main characters are right here, and they find a statue of King Caesar, who was the defender of this family in Okinawa, and the family, apparently the history behind it was they were attacked by mainland Japanese people, and this giant brown monster came and saved him, and he was King Caesar. So he plays a pretty big role in this film. And while this is going on, more aliens have shown up from the third planet from the black hole, and they're pretty much green versions of the apes from Planet of the Apes.
I was going to say that was a Planet of the Apes right there.
Oh yeah, I mean they look just like them.
Yeah.
But so they've shown up and they are here to take over the world. But before they got here, their scientists studied our biggest defense, Godzilla, and created Mechagodzilla to fight him off. And then it just goes crazy from there. So as Mechagodzilla shows up. When he first shows up, he actually looks just like Godzilla. There's no robot form to him whatsoever. As he starts his path of destruction, Anguirus shows up. He's actually in the very beginning of the film, but he shows up a little bit later and fights Godzilla. And everyone's like, what's going on? Anguirus wouldn't fight Godzilla. They're friends. Of course, Mechagodzilla, looking like Godzilla, puts a absolute hurting on Anguirus, rips his mouth open in one of the bloodiest. One thing I like about Fukuda's films, they're bloody.
That's right.
And sends Anguirus just running away. And then, of course, the first fight happens shortly after between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, and it's an awesome city battle at night. And that's when he does enough damage and starts ripping off the bio part of his suit, or what his covering, to reveal his under armor, or his metal, skeleton that he's got. And then all of a sudden, in an awesome special effects sequence, you see Mechagodzilla in his first full appearance, and it's absolutely epic. And they go toe to toe, and Mechagodzilla makes pretty quick work of Godzilla. Sends him flying into the ocean, and blood's just pouring everywhere out of the water, presuming Godzilla's been killed. And as this is going on, the aliens from the monkey dudes from the black hole are trying to get the statue of King Caesar from the main characters, because they know that if they wake up King Caesar, this will cause a problem for them trying to take over the world, because they can't, deal with Godzilla and King Caesar at the same time. So that's the cool little subplot going on. And you also get introduced to two awesome Interpol agents. Again, Jun Fukuda did a lot of spy and action films. He loves throwing that stuff in there. I thought these dudes were great. Sato was one of them. And I'm trying to remember the other character's name. Tamura was the other one. The two Interpol agents, and it's just really great. And I wish they'd explain it more, but the Interpol guys kind of know the aliens are here and have been looking after, on them to see why they're here, and they step in, intervene, and it's great human characters in this one, I think. And of course, it all boils down to they finally get the statue to the Izumi tribe people, the lady at the beginning, her grandfather, and they manage to awaken King Caesar. And you get an awesome fight with King Caesar and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla at the end of it. And super action-packed film. Tons of fun, really good human storyline. The characters are really good. Shimizu is the name of the main character. He's played by Masaki Diamond. He is the construction engineer who is overseeing the dig where they find this King Caesar statue. He was a great character, and he kind of leads it all through it. But there's a lot of returning casts in this. You've got Akihiko Hirata, which we've seen plenty of times before. He's a Professor Miyajima, who I guess you'd call him, what would you call him, Ruben? A metallurgist. He studies rocks and but metals. Yeah. And he's the one that finds this piece of space titanium.
Starts a geologist, but I don't know.
Yeah, like it's not a geologist. He's a geologist, but he only deals with metals. And he realizes it's space titanium. He's the one that first kind of believes there's spacemen, aliens here, and goes looking for them. He actually ends up having to repair Mechagodzilla because they've got his daughter and Shimizu's brother, Masahiko, as bait. And so, if he doesn't repair Mechagodzilla, they're going to kill him. Of course he does, and they're going to kill all of them instead. Enter Shimizu and the Interpol agent, kicking some serious alien butt. It was really, really cool. But so it's absolutely great cast in this movie. I love the characters. Well, also you've got, he's on it briefly, the captain of the Queen Corral. That's Kenji Sahara, which is pretty cool just to kind of get him in there. So anyways, great cast. Hiroshi Kozumi, I need to say that too. He's actually Professor Wakura in this. So that's another familiar returning face. Just absolutely great characters. Absolutely great cast.
Godzilla in this too.
What's that?
He's also Godzilla in this too.
Who?
Who'd you just say to speak?
I was
Sushi.
Akiko. No, I was talking about Hiroshi Koizumi.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah,
Aseo Zushi is Godzilla in this one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think this may have been his only film as Godzilla, but anyways, absolutely good film,
and he does a good job at it.
He does. I love the performance of Godzilla in this movie. The thing that stands above par of this film, and we'll jump into the things we liked and didn't like about this. To me, this is the most action-packed Godzilla film I think almost to date. Because it's fight after fight after fight, and not just with Godzilla, with the human characters too. The pacing and action is great in this.
Right.
So the movie starts off, you've got the explosion and anguish there, so it's going to start off with some action, but you quickly get the ball rolling, and the aliens agent breaks into Wakura's house when Shimizu's there to steal the statue, and all of a sudden this fight ensues. He's got a gun, the cool, awesome 70s. Japanese, spy movie music, which is really great.
Yeah.
That breaks out. Then it goes from that to then they release Mechagodzilla, and you see Mechagodzilla and Anguirus fight. And then after they fight, you see Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight for the first time as Godzilla versus Godzilla. After that, then you have the ship fight on the Queen Corral between Shimizu and that alien agent who then gets killed by one of the Interpol guys. Great action sequences there. It jumps from that to the cave sequences where they have to break out and save them. So it's action after action after action, leading to, and it all builds up and inclines into the final fight, because then you get Mechagodzilla versus King Caesar, and then Godzilla shows up in probably one of the baddest appearances ever, aside from Godzilla versus the Thing. I mean, when he comes out of that water, like the dude's ready to tear down.
And he starts coming up over that hill.
Oh yeah, it's like, dude,
perfect.
it's so good.
Building
Into what is one of the best fight sequences ever, with Godzilla and King Caesar teaming up to fight Mechagodzilla. Oh, and you can't even forget, after Godzilla gets his butt kicked the first fight, he ends up on that island and the lightning striking down on him and stuff. Dude, that's just is boss. So very action-packed film. It's been a while since I started with the things that I liked, so I'm just go ahead and start it. Yeah. Since I'm on a roll with it. The action in this movie is just superb. I mean, he does, and of course Fukuda's known for action films in Japanese cinema. That's what he was best for, and it really shined. I feel like he after he finally paid his dues doing, Sea Monster, Son of Godzilla, Megalon, doing the movies that he did, I felt like Tanaka and the Toho execs were like, okay, we'll let you run with what you want to do. Do it a little more your way, because his style really shines in this more than any other Godzilla film he did. And it really paid off, because to me, there was a little bit of a drag in the later Godzilla films before this. Other than Megalon, like Gigan, while it's such a great film, the fights are really long and drawn out. When you look at Godzilla's Revenge, the fights are, just, rehashed fights or stock footage from previous films. And the Godzilla and Gabra fights, not that entertaining. The fights in here are just top notch, and it's bloody. I mean, and I know some fans are like, oh no, you don't need that in the Godzilla films. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, when Anguirus gets his mouth ripped open, I was like, it just showed the brutality of Mechagodzilla. And you're like, yeah, this dude's not one to mess with. And even when Godzilla fights him the first time, just torn apart, and he falls in the ocean and those waters bubbling, all that blood's coming up. You're like, dude, he's not in good shape. And then even there at the end, I mean, the torpedoes being stabbed into him. Ruben talked to me. We were talking about last night, getting shot in the jugular, and the blood's just squirting everywhere. It's just, I mean, he took the action.
It's pumping out of him.
Oh, it is, man. I mean, he went Spinal Tap on this action. It don't go to 10, it goes to 11. I mean, he really pushed it, and it really paid off in this film, because it's the most entertaining Godzilla film of the 70s by far. Other things I liked about this film was I loved the characters. I loved Shimizu. I thought he was great. He was very entertaining. He kept the story going and the characters going, because he was really the one that was tied into everybody. Professor Wakura doesn't really mix with Miyashima in the film at any time. Your two Interpol agents, they never really mix at the same time, even though they're partners apparently. But Shimizu, he's the one who really is mixed with all the characters, and he really kept it driving, and he was very entertaining to watch, because I wanted to see what's he going to do next, especially after that first fight in his uncle's house, Professor Wakura's. I mean, he kind of gets his butt kicked, but that ain't stopping him. He goes running out that house after that dude. And so seeing the second fight between them on the boat, I'm like, yeah, man, this is going to be great. He even gets his hand cut, and he's like, he was a great character, and I really enjoyed him. The characters I thought were really good. No real weak characters. I mean, all the characters were very entertaining, and several of them were previous Toho actors and characters we've seen in Godzilla movies before. So they were super awesome. King Caesar, loved him. I absolutely loved King Caesar. He probably might be, outside of, obviously Godzilla, he's my favorite. He's probably my favorite ally of Godzilla's through the Showas. He is. I would think he's the most feisty. You know what I mean?
Now, and I was trying to think, and I may be wrong. My old mind. Is this his first appearance?
This is first appearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, and I was I was beating my brow trying to think
First of two.
Yeah.
First of two.
Yeah.
This one, when you see Anguirus in other films, or even Rodan and Mothra, team up with Godzilla in, Ghidorah or Invasion of the Astro Monsters, most of the fights and all that, I mean, even in Godzilla's Gigan with Anguirus, it's really Godzilla. And then the other monsters that are his allies don't really do a whole lot. The most that any of them did was Gorosaurus in Destroy All Monsters against Ghidorah. All the rest of them kind of maybe get a hit in, but King Caesar was different. I mean, he went toe to toe with Mechagodzilla for a little bit, and he was right in on the fight and the action. And Godzilla's holding Mechagodzilla at one point, like around the shoulders, and King Caesar's just ramming into him. And his power was cool too. I mean, he could reflect the energy beams that the monsters are shooting at him. So when Mechagodzilla would shoot those eye rays at him, he would just reflect them right back. And he was very fast and agile and just a really cool character. I loved his design, and it was nice to see something fresh, because a lot of the designs of monsters prior to this were either insanely alien, a la Gigan, or even Megalon was a bug, but it was very alien looking, or it was just very dinosaur. Rodan, Anguirus, Gorosaurus, Baragon. Nothing too drastic. And I thought King Caesar was a good fresh monster that we hadn't seen in a while. I mean, you even go to the next one when we go to Terra Megagodzilla, the next monster is Titanosaurus, a la another dinosaur. They kind of played it safe. So I love King Caesar, and I love the special effects in this movie. I love the Godzilla suit. To me, this was the best of the hero suits because it had an edge. I mean, his look. I mean, again, we're talking about him coming over the mountain.
Yeah.
And his head's still down, and he just looks pissed off.
Oh yeah.
It's like
I agree. I agree.
I mean, the 74, 75 suit is definitely, I think, the shining suit of the Showa 70s films, definitely. Absolutely. Even maybe some of the later 60s. Not as good as the 64 Mothra suit, but, this was a great suit. So, I mean, I love the soundtrack of this film. I thought it was just absolutely entertaining. This is such a go-to Godzilla film for me. It's in my top 5 of my all-time favorite Godzilla films for a reason. It's super entertaining, completely action-packed. I mean, if I had to say what things I didn't like, was little unanswered things that could have been. And the one that comes to mind the most was when the alien leader is talking when King Caesar gets awakened, is he tells Mechagodzilla, we have to stop him now before he wakes other monsters. What other monsters? I want to know that answer. You know what I mean? Like, this could be really cool that they didn't do anything with that. You know what I mean? Right. Like, what are the monsters they're referring to? More Okinawan legend monsters, or, what's going on? So that was a nugget they put there that really could have been added onto. That wasn't. So I didn't like that because I got my hopes up a little bit. The only other thing I really honestly didn't like in this movie was the song. I mean, she, the princess or whatever she is, for the Zumi tribe, to awaken, they free King Caesar from his tomb or whatever in that mountain, but he's got to be awoke or wakened up. And she has to sing this song to wake him up. We got enough with the Mothra songs, all right? Like, I don't want another one. And so while I will say this one was actually kind of fun and entertaining for a song, I actually like it more than a Mothra song. I don't want that. It's like, just, blow up the mountain. He wakes up, boom. Why do we need to add something else onto this?
I'm in my restaurant and I'm watching, and it's real quiet. There's people in there. And she comes on and she starts singing real loud. People are looking at me like, what are you watching over there?
This dude's weird.
And I didn't turn it down, and I just
let it roll. Yeah, because it's actually, it is a very entertaining song. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's definitely the better of those times that they've done that in those movies. But it's just, to me, it was very, very unneeded. Take that time out. Let's go back and revisit the other monsters idea. There could have been more done there. But that's the only two things that I honestly didn't like about this film. I mean, I love this movie. I mean, to me, this was the shining moment of the Showa era since, well, God was the thing. I mean, that was my favorite. I mean, Ruben, I would probably say Invasion of the Astro Monster, but definitely the 70s. I mean, it's the shining moment of the 70s period.
I would agree with that's why when you started, I said the 70s. I don't think there's a question. I don't think there's any question that this one is the best of the 70s. Because the other of my favorites are in the 60s, of course, and then we go into the 80s. The 60 ones are really great, but this one in the 70s it's just top notch, if you ask me.
And I think it's even better than the late '60s. I mean, it's better than Sea Monster. It's definitely better than Son of Godzilla. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of them post Astro Monster, this is the best. I mean, absolutely, without question. Because if Astro Monster is, I mean, we know it's Ruben's favorite, but I'll even agree. Astro Monster was extremely entertaining. Ghidorah was great too. So I mean, it's on there. It's on par of those. This is the only Fukuda film that I think is on par with that original Big Four crew. Ishiro Honda, Eiji Tsuburaya, Tomoyuki Tanaka, and Akira Ifukube. This is the only Showa film that's on par with those original ones. So I mean, that for me, that's it. I mean, I absolutely love it. I mean, if I watch a Godzilla film, this is one of the go-tos, man. It's so much fun. It's so entertaining, and it's one of the few that I'll actually sometimes prefer to watch the English dub version, which you guys know I definitely prefer the Japanese versions on all these films. But there are those rare occasions. As far as the Showa era, the only other one besides Godzilla vs. the Thing that I'd rather watch the English version of is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. They did a great job, and the voices were good, the characters were great. As far as the dubbing cast, it's top notch, man.
Yeah, and I thought the special effects went pretty good in it for '74. I mean, in that last battle, and Mechagodzilla just kind of goes out. He's shooting rays, rockets, everything.
Oh yeah, the onslaught, man.
I thought
we had not seen anything like that.
I thought that was fantastic to watch and see.
Now I will say, don't let me forget the onslaught.
Okay,
let's go ahead and move into one of you guys' your likes and dislikes, because I do want to say something about the onslaught. Ruben, you want to go next?
Sure. I mean, there's nothing I didn't like about this movie. Actually, the two little things you pointed out, I really didn't even notice, to tell you the truth. I now that you've said it, I'm like, they could have done without that easy enough. But also, that became it's like the Mothra song, and there's those songs they've thrown those in there, even with which one was that where they had the pop star kind of sing one. I already see they're all running together for me now.
Was it the Smog Monster when they were?
Yes.
In like the disco. Yeah.
They're on the disco. Yeah, that's it. But I really like the effect. I like the suit design. I think you were talking about it. It's a good Godzilla suit design. And I think for me, it's something with the eyes. There's something about the design and how they did his eyes that kind of made him of a more of an aggressive hero Godzilla in this one. So I really like that. I love the soundtrack. But I mean, I really dig that the Mechagodzilla theme, as you call it, when Godzilla shoots him and exposes him, and then he just transforms. And then that song, that theme comes on. I'm like, man, I just love that song. I just dig it.
Oh yeah,
I
love it.
And it's so special effects are great. I actually didn't mind the blood at all. I know some people, like you were saying, that they don't like that, but I thought it was pretty cool because it was I've seen worse. I'm a horror fan, so that's what happens there. So maybe I'm just
it fits for the times. I mean, you look at the '70s. You got horror in the '60s and horror in the '50s, but the '70s was really the beginning and boom of those bloody horror films. So we're seeing it much more. Even the Japanese side in Asian films, you were seeing it. Not just in the horror, but in the martial arts films. You're seeing an increase in blood. So I mean, it was just it fit the cinema times.
If you don't want to see blood and guts, don't go see any of the last Rambo movies.
Not at all. Definitely don't watch the last one.
So it didn't bother me. As a matter of fact, you're right. Like I watch all those kung fu movies. And they're just as bloody as this Godzilla film.
Yep.
I thought the battles were really good. This is one where Godzilla really took it on chin. I think Ghidorah, the Smog Monster, was the last one where, Ghidorah really gave it to him. And in this one too, Mechagodzilla was, he's my second favorite. King Ghidorah being my first. But Mechagodzilla is, as far as foes go, he's up there. If they ever made a movie where Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla teamed up, against Godzilla. I'd
Oh,
like to see
dude.
that.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, then that would be a battle.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't see him
I'd love to see
surviving that one solo. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Without any help. So I thought the special effects were good. Soundtrack was good. I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. Oh, there is one thing I didn't like. I take it back. The dubbing was good. I don't like the dubbing that was done. I mentioned this to you last night. This is the Godzilla.
Oh yeah,
Godzilla
yeah.
dub. This is the Godzilla and Garrus dub. And I'm like, man, just and it's funny because it's just that one voice actor. Because like the aliens, they say Godzilla. They say, oh, Godzilla's it, But this guy, and I'm trying to remember who the voice actor was.
Is it the guy who does Shimizu?
Yes, I believe so.
Matthew Oram.
He's calling him good.
That's the
he says
name.
Godzilla. He says Godzilla, and it just bothered me, But that's part of the dub. That's not really part of the movie. So, I kind of don't hold that against the movie because it's not the movie's fault, that Toho hired these guys to do the film. You think Toho would say, hey, wait a minute, say his name right, man.
Yeah. Right.
If you're going to do it, say his name right. But I don't.
You didn't say that one right.
Yeah, you didn't say that one right. Say it again. It's, and I'm like, do they not notice that he's not saying it right? Maybe because there's a language barrier or something, because this was the TriStar that I saw was the international dub, which was that's Toho's dubbing basically, and so that's the only that's the version I have access to. So that's the one I saw. But other than that, there's nothing in this movie that I did not really care for. It's one of my go-tos. I mean, there's Monster Zero, there's Godzilla 85 or 84. Either one. I prefer 85 only because that's the one I saw first before I saw.
Well, I'm with you on that one too.
Yeah. And then this one, if it's a rainy Saturday afternoon and I've got I can't do anything, and I feel like watching a Godzilla. It's one of those three movies that's going that's on the top of my list that's going in. Because they're so entertaining. All three of them are very entertaining movies, especially this one.
Yep.
So it's just and the pace of this movie is perfect because even if you're watching it with a kid, the kid won't get bored watching this movie because the pacing is done. So okay, well, there's a monster fight, and then there's a little bit, you got your plot, but right away there's something going on with the aliens, or there's a fight going on. Or, there's something intriguing that would even keep a kid's attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we all know that sometimes that's hard to do, even Megalon, even though I said, my kid, that's the one I introduced him with. But even the pacing of Megalon wasn't as good as this one. Megalon was good for a kid to watch, but the pacing was that if, let's just put it this way, if you were watching on VHS, you'd have to fast forward it for the kid. It's easy to get bored.
Right.
In some parts,
yeah.
But not in this one. This one, there'd probably be no fast forwarding at all because the kid could watch it all the way through, and there's always some action, because kids like, as I was a kid, man, if it was a kung fu movie on or a Godzilla movie on or sci-fi, I was there. I was watching it. So, and that's what keeps the kids' attention, and I think that's still true today. Some tastes have changed, but I think I think overall, if you get a kid, you sat on the front of the TV to watch a Godzilla film and you put this one in, you wouldn't have to skip anything, to keep his attention throughout. So that's always good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again, that's great direction and pacing from Jun Fukuda.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's why I like this one. You can sit and watch this one, and before you know it, it's the end of the movie. It just flies by.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it
when
just
I watched
flies.
that, I thought the same thing too. I'm like, man, I'm already at this part. Like, which I mean,
yeah,
it's one of the short ones. I mean, 84 minutes, but still, yeah, it does.
Well, it kind of glues you into you kind of lose track of time because it is so fast paced. I mean, you're just trying to stay up with it.
Yeah, because I put it in and I was watching it. I'm like, wow, it's I understand it's not even an hour and a half, but it goes by so quickly when you're watching it. And it's kind of like, wow, it's already over. You know, I'm already halfway through it, and you don't realize it because of the pacing. So that's what I got on it. Like I said, I don't have too many negative things to say, but then again, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So I didn't anticipate having too much negative. Other than that, the dubbing, which, like I said, I don't hold against the movie itself.
Oh, you can't.
So,
Definitely can't.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, that's nothing else.
What about you, Mark?
Well, I think I'm in agreement with you guys as far as the movie goes. You know, fast paced, great action packed movie, and I thought at the time it was, you know, the special effects were great. I mean, just like I was talking about, you know, the onslaught, Mechagodzilla down towards the end. To me, I was just like glued to it and liked it, and I thought the characters, the human characters in it, was great. Kept you kind of at the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
you know, that's throughout the movie. You guys were the soundtrack. You know, you guys are a big thumbs up. I'm a so-so on it. You know, I'm. I don't know, that's some of that style of music. I can take it, but too much of it just kind of does me in.
You're right.
You know, and another thing, as far as overall, I thought the movie was very good. You know, when it first started, I mentioned to you, I was like, man, have I ever seen this movie? But it had just been so long ago. But it turned out that I really enjoyed the action. The Mechagodzilla suit, I thought, was pretty phenomenal. The movement the actor could get in the suit, I thought, was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because with a suit like that, you kind of think they might have some trouble being too heavy, bulky, or whatever. But if you watch in the action scenes, he kind of gets it going and gets
does
moving,
really well with it.
Does a real good job at it, and I thought it made it different than the previous Godzilla movies, because here's a more, I don't want to say realistic, but realistic. You know, one of the things that I had with Kong, I didn't like the suit. You know, I didn't think it was real looking. Where this robot Godzilla, he looked the part, and so I thought, you know, especially of the '70s movies, they did an excellent job on bringing the villain out and doing a good job.
And there was no silly wrestling moves in this one.
No,
right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There was no flying Godzilla. There was no tail sliding. Right. There was none of that. It was just a one-on-one fight, and I think that added to the movie.
Oh yeah,
you know, the fact that they didn't have any
exactly.
of that.
And it's a constant brawl. I mean, you pick the monster fight. You know, Mechagodzilla versus Anguirus, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus King Caesar, Godzilla, King Caesar, and Mechagodzilla fighting. I mean, it's a brawl every one of those fights. I mean, they're all really intense.
And I thought the Godzilla suit it's one of my favorite suits of
absolutely.
all. I think it's just fantastic, the way it looks, everything about it. So definitely a thumbs up. The things I didn't like besides soundtrack, I mean, what do we have from like 68 to 73, 5 Planet of the Apes movies?
Yeah.
You didn't need to go that way.
Right.
I thought that was kind of cheesy, or kind of let's kind of steal off of that. Let's rip off of that type of deal.
Well, to build off of that, let's say you get a shot to redesign the alien. What would you do? You know, we're talking 70s here, so I want, you know, how would you redesign them off the top of your head? I'm not putting you. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here.
Well, no, it would be
like a movie from the '70s. Try to, you know, did good aliens. What would you go with?
There wasn't a whole lot of good aliens, I think, out there as far as the '70s went, but to steal the look from,
they paint them green, threw some warts on them.
Yeah, do something there. But I mean, they look pretty close to Planet of the Apes. It's like they just went over to their wardrobe and grabbed a few and said, "Let's do this."
I was gonna say I wouldn't doubt it if they said, you know what, we're just gonna do that. And it's another thing. I agree with you, man. All you have to do is go look at Star Trek and maybe knock off one of those 80s.
Oh yeah,
I would have liked.
At the time, you know,
Ruben threw on the spot there. Like, what would you do?
Yeah.
I would honestly have liked a reptilian style alien. Something like, of course, this
like
is many years later.
Like a
or like Jerry from Enemy Mine.
Oh yeah,
You know
oh,
what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
Or War from
There's
Klingon.
right.
So-
There's a lot out there.
Which wasn't really
but
Klingon. I don't know why I said that.
one of
Yeah.
I think one of Toho's shortcomings is they want to do stuff so fast that
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
they need to step back and say,
I
okay,
agree.
how can we make this better? You know, okay, let's spend a few more extra bucks and make these aliens look like aliens.
Yeah.
You know,
Because even in later years, when you look like Godzilla Final Wars, which is the only aliens you get in the Heisei or Millennium series, as far as humanoids, they look just like us. You know what I mean? There was no difference whatsoever. There's no creativity, which was really weird to me because I have to blame Toho on that and not Ryuya Kitamura. Because if you look at Ryu Kitamura's other films, versus Alive, Midnight Meat Train, the dude will go wherever he wants to go and do something crazy. I mean, those monsters at the end of Midnight Meat Train were awesome,
right.
So I mean, I would have to point that at Toho, be like, come on, spend some extra time and create something cool, unique. Even look at the aliens in the Showas. I mean,
well, especially when you go and you're bringing out Mechagodzilla. I mean, here's a new villain coming out, and he just looks so phenomenal. Why do you short yourself on these aliens to make people, look and say, well, that's Planet of the Apes?
Yeah. I thought the alien leader with his little skin tint, I thought he looked great.
Yeah.
I could have settled for that.
Yeah.
Because he looked menacing with it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Well, the same amount of time they spent, unless they really did get those masks, at a Hollywood thrift store or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The same amount of time they spent on designing those masks, which I assume they just designed their own, and they could have done. Instead of saying, you know what, let's just try to do something more original.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But Mark is right. Mark's right that kind of Toho's, trademark is like, we got, they got all these great kaiju. I mean, they're great when it comes to kaiju, but then when it comes to the aliens, for some reason, they just haven't invested the time. Yeah.
And then it's true. I mean, if they would spend their time on it, I mean, you look at the original Godzilla film. I mean, that had more time spent on it than any of the other film in the Showa, and it shows. Look at their other films, The H-Man, much longer production on that. Amazing film. Same with Matango. Or for those who don't know what Matango is, it's Attack of the Mushroom People. That had a much longer production shoot on it, and it is an amazing movie. And the designs of the people in that movie as they start transforming into these mushrooms is creepy as all get out. And so, I think Mark nailed it there. I mean,
don't get me wrong on it. It's not like I'm really pulling the movie down because I think it's a great movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely is.
And these are just things that I'm seeing that how much better could
have done better.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Aliens didn't really bother me that much, but I do agree that they could have done a way better job.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh, definitely. So, and I do admit, Onslaught. Okay,
the Onslaught.
I thought the Onslaught was epic in this, but the Onslaught in the next one was so far superior.
I just thought it was where Mechagodzilla turns his head away from Godzilla. And he's firing in both directions.
That's pretty
I was
epic.
like, dude, he is getting it.
When I was watching this, I was thinking, because when he turns his head, I'm like, dude, he's taking you both on from opposite sides. It is absolutely epic. And even from that point on, just a constant barrage of missiles and rockets and lasers and the electricity thing of his chest. I mean, he's just kicking their tail, and he ain't even moving. He's just standing still. But
at one point where he sticks his foot up on that rock or that log, hey, dude, go ahead, I got you. I'm coming at you.
Just to show how bad he is, he just starts shooting rockets off of the side, just pimping it out.
It was great.
Yeah.
But in Terror, one of the things I love about Terror is he gets the onslaught, but it's opposite. In this one, it's Mechagodzilla against Godzilla and King Caesar. It's Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla against Godzilla. And so that onslaught scene, I think, is way more intense in the next one, especially when Godzilla's whole back lights on fire. I was like, what? So I was watching this the other day. I was like, I know it's in Terror that his back lights on fire, but I was like hoping and expecting to see it happen in this one.
Right.
I was like, because that onslaught's awesome. And I felt like they knew in Terror when we get to that one next, or in 2 more films.
Yeah.
They
Two more
had to
films.
repeat that because they knew how awesome of a scene that really was, because that was a shining moment for the film.
Yes.
I think one of the other shining moments for the film is actually in the first Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fight. And I want to bring this up too, because we see this again in the Heisei. This was the first beam lock, I guess you could call it, of them, where Godzilla and Mechagodzilla shoot their beams at each other and they lock, and that's what causes the explosion that blows Godzilla in the water. Fast forward 1992 to Godzilla versus, or 93, sorry, to Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in the Heisei, and that's what you get when it's Super Mechagodzilla and Godzilla, and you get the beam lock, and of course, this time around, it's Mechagodzilla that falls, and I love it. Excuse me. So that was 2 things I want to add there. That just there's so many good things. Good, I mean, if you just pay attention, you don't have to pay attention; it's right there in front of you. But there's so many great things about this movie that just makes it insanely entertaining. We've said it. I mean, it's the most entertaining of the '70s. Definitely one of the most entertaining of the entire Showa series.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I find this one superior to most of the Heisei. I mean, most of the Heisei series, I think this is far superior, or more entertaining. Maybe I shouldn't say superior, but more entertaining than even Biollante, King Ghidorah, Mothra. Not Mechagodzilla 2, because that one was pretty. That's the top tier.
Yeah, that
moment.
one's a good one. I think of the Heisei, that's one of the good. Arguably, that's the best one. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it's the best one. Now I get pushed back on that a lot, and you know what? I'm not going to argue with you, because it's kind of like, okay, that's your favorite. That's you think it's better. I can't really say, nah, no way, you're crazy. But
well, it's weird for that, because when you look at, because I instantly have to go, well, you got 85, but 85 is a weird one as far as time placement, because 85 actually, because the way that for those who don't know, when we talk about the Showa films or the Heisei films, those are called that because of the emperor reigning at the time that reigns. There's different eras. So in the Showa, it's in referencing to the Emperor of Japan. That's why that's dubbed the Showa era. In Heisei, it goes with that. 85 actually came out still in the Showa era. The Showa era actually didn't end till 87 or 88, right before Biollante. So it's technically a Showa film, but it gets looped into the Heisei because it's the movie that started the Heisei series, and especially with the special effects.
And it's in that timeline.
Because everything starts from that one and it goes from there. So if you put 85 in the Showa like it technically should be, oh yeah, Mechagodzilla is the best of the Heisei by far, followed closely by Destroya.
Yeah.
But for me, and again, it's who's your favorite? 85 is going to stand on top for me always. But I mean, if you take that one away, because technically you should, Mechagodzilla 2 is, dude, that's it. I mean, and again, like this one, very action packed. Can't wait to get to the Heisei series films. Those are going to be fun to talk about. So, anything else you guys want to say on this one?
Nope, I'm good on this one.
No, I'm good on this one too. I think I said everything I need to. It's a great film. Believe me. I'll even say this: on some days, depending on my mood, I might even put it ahead of Monster Zero because of how I'm feeling that day.
Oh,
that's
dude.
how close they are. That's how close they are.
I
to
kind
me.
of can't believe I'm hearing that.
Well, I mean, I'm with him though.
Yeah,
I'm with him though. But for me, it would be The Thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to me, The Thing, God versus The Thing, or God versus Mothra versus God versus 64. That's the shot. That's my favorite of the Showa aside from the original. I will put this one on par with that one, and some days I might even pick it over it. Because it's that entertaining film.
If you're gonna ask me what's your favorite, well, it'll be Monster Zero. 9.5 times out of 10. But because that's just that's just my favorate. But this one right here it's right there with it. Yeah.
And that's why we gave this one, well, besides Mark, but we overruled him. We gave this one a solid 4 stomps out of 5 for this film. That we think is very well deserved. Mark was given a 3.5 for whatever reason. He just
Planet of the Apes.
Yes, that's what it is.
I'm telling you,
those suits really got to him on this one. But I mean, if y'all haven't seen this movie, check it out. I mean, this is a great one to introduce someone to the Godzilla series because it is so highly entertaining.
Well, I think one of the things that actually hurt the showing in America was that when they brought this movie out, it was just for child matinees only.
Yeah, because they put it for
Yeah.
G rating on this one.
And so I think that kind of hurt money wise and just availability as far as adults seeing it.
Yeah, because they cut a lot of the cool stuff out. Not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they cut 4 minutes out, but what they cut out was the stuff that would definitely as Ruben said, the jugular shot with all the blood was cut out. The missiles and all the blood coming out of them there. Even the water. And Guiris, they cut out the ripping of his mouth like it was. I mean, it was very edited. But even the fight scene between Shimizu and the agent in the first when they break into his uncle's house, that's severely cut down. I mean, by like a minute and a half or something like that. I mean, and toning it down, I think I'm with you. That was a bad call, and they should have slapped it with PG and put it for all audiences. Because this would have done really well for cinema shares.
Exactly, I think.
So,
I mean, and as far as bloody goes, Bandel, you kind of touched on that in the 70s, like, in this era when it was released in America. I mean, you had like the one that comes to mind for me because I was a kid when I watched it was Black Sunday. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. It was about. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's about a terrorist group. And they're going to pull off an attack on the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and it's the blimp. It's the one with the blimp. It's the one with the blimp. If you've never seen it,
it's
and that one was like a bloody movie. And all the Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry movies, man, they were bloody.
Oh yeah,
and so as far as that goes, and that's even back then. Jaws was bloody. Jaws was considered pretty graphic. Of course, they all were rated R.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, I mean, that's true, rated R. I mean, you've got, what, Halloween was 1978.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that same era. I throw that in there.
And even before then, I mean, what else was there? You got The Intruder with Bruce Campbell. You've got Black Christmas. Was there My Bloody Valentine? No, wait, My Bloody Valentine may have been early 80s. But anyways, Black Christmas. I mean, so that was the 70s was the rise of the slasher film. And so you were seeing tons of blood and guts there. But not even on that. You've also got the zombie films from Romero that are very bloody.
Yes.
I mean, so the audience is definitely used to it. I mean, of course, you go across the sea, in Japan or China, you're seeing them in the kung fu movies. But you jump over to, Italy, and you've got, zombie and the Argentino flicks, Dario Argentino flicks. I mean, those are very bloody. So
and even those, I mean, I love horror movies. Even for me, sometimes I'm like, man, this is hard to watch.
Oh yeah, man. That zombie film, dude. Zombie was, I cannot. It's brutal. I mean, for 19, what was that? 70? It was early 70s, I think.
Yeah, it was early 70s. Yeah, it was
it was intense, man. Super intense.
Well, when did
the zombie was meant to be for, what is it, a sequel for, is it Dawn of the Dead? No, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
But then, of course, then they said, oh, no, it's not. They were trying to, that's how they tried to market it, and it ended up not being that.
When did Texas Chainsaw come out?
Oh, yeah, that was early 70s.
That was, was it 76?
I thought it was earlier than that, like 73.
No, I want to say like 73.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Somewhere
around
there.
Yeah. I think you're right, Ruben.
Yeah.
We're going to find out real quick. No, 74.
Yeah.
Actually, 74.
74, yeah. So, that was probably.
So, I mean, you see that. So, I think that, they did themselves an injustice. I mean, it's not much to edit. I mean, it's not like putting that in there is going to turn this to an R-rated film, like what's going on at the time in the decade.
Yeah.
But purposing this just for general audience kids, really hindered, I think, the audience that it could have.
I think, if they would have rated PG, like Mark suggested, it probably would have made a lot more money.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Because, come on, I mean, that to a lot of people, they look at that rating, and that's what, they see a G rating. This is a kid's movie. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Exactly.
Everybody knows the story of Star Wars, that it was going to get a G rating.
Well, then, and G rating, and then you put it on a children's matinee, it's only going to show in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
And it's not going to go the rest of the day.
True.
That's it.
Dude,
they was going to get, like I said, Star Wars was going to get a G rating. George Lucas has to fight for the PG rating because he knew that if it was a G-rated, it wasn't going to make as much money, or it wasn't going to be successful.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
the rating has a lot to do with it.
It does. I mean, because if you just slapped a PG rating on this one, threw in a trailer with a quick shot of the jugular shot, dude. I mean, there have been so many more people like, I want to see that. You know, would have been super crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
But right on. So yeah, guys, check this one out, man. It is one of the most entertaining Godzilla films of all generations, of all series of the movies. Absolutely amazing. So much fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about it. Of course, now we've got another one coming this month, and this time since we're done with the Kong films, we're going to jump on to some other monster movies not outside of the Asian and Japanese culture. And this one actually is a request from the one Justin McLean, who actually we'll see next weekend. He will be here for the first live podcast, which is
my
awesome.
first day of vacation, so I'll be there.
Oh, awesome. I was going to ask you if he's going to be there or not. So, so that's going to be an absolute blast. I'm stoked that he's coming. But per his request, and of course we won't complain because we all absolutely love this movie. The next episode this month is going to be Peter Weller's in it. I almost said Peter Weller's, like it's his film. It's not his film, but it is RoboCop's film. Come on. Is Leviathan.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing movie. Great freaking cast. And at the time when undersea monster movies were just kind of a fad, in the 80s, this one definitely takes the cake. I mean, it's top notch for that. So I'm really excited about that one. So definitely stay tuned. Of course, next weekend again we've got the first live podcast, but following that we will bring out Leviathan, and for from then on we're going to continue with the Godzilla films, but we will be doing other monster films in between. And I've got some great ones in mind, but we want to hear what you guys want to do. You know what I mean? Because I've got some that are so bad it's good. That I've thought about, we've thought about maybe doing, or I've thought about maybe doing The Mighty Pecking Man, which is a Tarantino favorite. But boy, is that a pile of garbage if I've ever seen one. But it makes it absolutely entertaining, things like that. But of course, we want to do things like, do we want to do Frankenstein? Do we want to do The Thing? Or we already did The Thing, didn't we? Did we already do The Thing?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did The Thing.
So, but some other monster movie that you guys may want to hear us talk about or get our thoughts of, let us know. We'd love to do it. We love taking requests, and maybe it's one we haven't seen. If it's a monster film that I haven't seen, I might even send you a gift, because that's probably not going to happen, but you never know.
We might even have to do Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, dude.
Get Sarge back on the phone,
Yeah.
get him back out
Sarge
here.
did request. He did say, because he was with us from Sarge from the Protest, did Ghidorah, 3 of the Monsters movies with us, and he's even like, when you do Creature, I'm in. So that's definitely one of his favorites.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Well, I posted on Facebook today was the anniversary of its release, and
That's right.
Yes,
it was.
And Black Lagoon, Creature from Black Lagoon is one of my all-time favorite Universal monsters.
Oh, without question.
Man, he's just, I can watch that movie. I had that movie on VHS. I mean, even before I owned it on VHS, I recorded it off TV, and I had to, how we used to do it back in the 80s, record all these movies off TV. I had it, I wore the sucker out. I just wore it out, I was so glad when they restored it and they brought it out on Blu-ray and on DVD and everything.
You know what? And it was so good that Toho, or no, not Toho, but it was so good that they put the soundtrack for that movie in King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I had the honor of working there where it was actually filmed at. Down in Silver Springs, Florida. I worked there.
Yeah, I told Ruben when you put that on there, I was like, hey, man, I've been to some of those locations in the film. Was where
Very
my father worked.
Yeah.
Not just there, but not just that, but some of the old Tarzan films were done there.
Yeah.
And
one of the Smokey and the Bandit 3, I think, was actually filmed down there too. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Now there was a Bond film shot there too.
Moonraker was there.
Parts
of Moonraker was filmed there,
which is pretty cool. So. But yes, I mean, you guys, if you want us to review a monster movie with, that maybe we haven't thought of, man, message us on Facebook, send us a message, or put comment on the page and let us know. We'd love to review something, that maybe we haven't seen. Again, if it's a monster movie I haven't seen, it's going to be pretty obscure, but I would definitely like to take the challenge.
Yeah.
That. So, cause
man, if somebody out there could find a movie that you hadn't watched, I'd be shocked. Or you haven't heard of anyway.
Yeah, if it's
at the very least.
If it's in the horror sci-fi monster realm, it's going to be pretty rare. I mean, I can't.
You could even pull the B-rated movies out on him. He's watched.
Oh,
them.
dude, I've
He's
seen
watched.
them.
them.
I've seen them all, man. I remember even when because I love the B movie films so much.
If it had a $50 budget, he was still watching.
Dude, I'm in it. I actually just watched one yesterday. No, yesterday called. It's a newer film called Blood Moon, and it's like a Western werewolf movie. It actually was pretty dang good. The werewolf was by far the largest werewolf. Well, he's technically a skinwalker I've ever seen. That suit is massive. It's like they put it on Andre the Giant. I'm like, this is unbelievable. How did he get through the door? Because he doesn't break through a wall. He just walks through a door. I'm like, this is the Western. Like, that door is not that big. Like, how did you make it through there?
Yeah.
But I watch it, man. I love it. I mean, the Carnosaur films were great B films in the 90s, but I love the 80s B films. I mean, Blue Monkey and The Outing. I mean, people are like, what are those movies? I told you, you're not going to find a movie I haven't seen when it comes to this stuff. But even in the 90s, man, I love those B monster films like Grimm, Jack-o'-lantern, Rumpelstiltskin was one of my favorites, man. That was a great one.
Those are the movies that when you went to the video store and you went to the either sci-fi or horror section, they were all there. They were like those
because they were direct video releases. And I loved it, man.
What would happen? Yeah, they were direct to video releases, and not only that, let's say you went to the video store to get a mainstream title. If they were all out, then let's see what else they got. Hey, this one looks good. Let's try this one.
Well, see, I was,
I don't know how many movies. That's how I found.
Oh,
that's
man,
how I found them.
I was notorious, and because this was something that me and Mark used to do too, even at a young age, is we would listen to bands or buy albums based on the album artwork of the band. We actually found an amazing band, Savior Machine. I remember that first album of theirs was phenomenal artwork and ended up being a phenomenal album. But I did that with my movies, especially when it comes to sci-fi and horror. And of course, I mean, I've watched a ton of horror films, but my preference always has been the monsters. And that stems from Godzilla and the original Universal Monster movies. Those were my favorite horror films. So as of course, I was born in the 80s, but as each decade went on and I started to pick up movies from the decades, I preferred the monster movies, and so that's what I went looking for the most. So Pumpkinhead and, any of that type of stuff, Aliens, Predator. So when I walked into a video store, I scoured their horror section or their sci-fi section to see what movie I could find. 1985's Creature, German film ripoff of Alien.
Oh yeah.
The cover looked awesome. And I'm like, let's see it. The Extro 2. I mean, if it had a monster in it, dude, I was getting it. And especially if the cover looked cool. And there you go, listeners. I challenge you. Find a movie. Find a monster movie Sledge has not seen so that we can view it for the monster movie Stompdown, because that would be absolutely epic. I mean,
that would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
Because, it'd be hard. You know what? I bet I know somebody who could or who will work hard to do it, and that's Pete Quint. Pete Quint, I have challenged you. When you listen to this, you find me a monster movie you think I have not seen, and we will do a monster movie Stompdown episode. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what, Pete Quint. Here it is. I'm challenged. I'm calling you out in this episode, and then I'll text you later to let you know you're being challenged in this episode. Find me a monster movie I have not seen, and we'll do this, but we'll also invite you
on the show with us
to do a monster movie Stompdown for whatever film you pick.
Great. I thought you were going to say something about no more spoilers for him, but
oh no, that's still gonna happen. Like I love doing that, man. Like he'll message me, he'll be so aggravated about that. I'm like, but that's my thing. That's just unfortunately I kind of get a kick out of the spoiler thing with Pete, but in which I was talking to Ruben to Mark today. I don't know if you've listened to any of Pete's podcast, the Good Beer Bad Movie Night. Great show. For those I know who listen to our show, we do keep our show kind of clean. I'm not saying theirs is rancid, because it's definitely not. But they curse and some on it. But it's hilarious listening to them banter about these movies, because they watch some pretty bad movies. But they just did The Guyver with Mark Hamill, and that was the newest episode. And I loved that movie as a kid. And I listened to that episode today, and man, it was great. It's probably my favorite episode I've heard of their show. But it's really, really, really good. So if you guys get a chance, definitely check that out. But Pete, you've been challenged, man. Find me a monster movie I have not seen. We'll watch it, and you can even be a guest on the show. So, all right, you guys got anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
No, I'm
awesome.
good.
Well, man, again, thank you guys so much. We enjoy doing this show. Please communicate with us, share us out, get us some more listeners, and just talk to us, man. We love doing it. We've created some great friends through this podcast. Again, we talk about Pete Quinn a lot. We talk about Justin McLean a lot. So it's great to have that, because it's not just, the goal for the next week's episode, the live one, is more than just doing a live episode. It really is to kind of bring in the pop culture, because our main show deals mainly with all pop culture. Those people who love that stuff together for like one night a month, just get together to hang out, talk about this stuff, and have a great time. It's really to bring the fan base and the community together. And that's how I feel about the shows. I love it when someone comments or when someone says something or reaches out, because I want to talk to you. We want to know who you are. We want you to be your friend, because we love this stuff and we love hearing from you all. So definitely share us out, give us a holler. And
March 14th. If you're in Bristol, Pizza Plus on West State Street.
Yep.
What time is it?
It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. And we've got a very big special guest. Of course, the last couple of years, Sludgecast has done the RobCon comic convention here in our area. They had several thousand people there last year. Great guest lineup. They've already started with a great one here. Jake the Snake Roberts, for any wrestling fans, is going to be there this year. And I'm stoked as all get it about that. And they're just starting to now announce who all's going to be there. So I'm pretty stoked about Jake the Snake. But we cover RobCon every year, and we're really stepping up this year. I can't say what all we're doing yet, because I'm still working that stuff out with Rob. But we're going to be taking a little bit bigger role at RobCon this year, which I'm really excited about. But Rob Pilk, who founded RobCon and is the founder of Mountain Empire Comics in this area, there's 2 stores, he's our special guest for next Saturday's show.
That's awesome.
So 35 years in the industry, man. The dude is, well, we call him, a lot of people around our area call him Bristol's Mr. Rogers, because he really is. People just love him. He's such a humble guy and a nice guy. And so he's going to be there. We're going to have a Q&A time with us and Rob as well. And we've got giveaways, man. We got some really cool giveaways. You guys, if you can be in the area, be here. So I know Pizza Plus is donating some, but me and Mike are pulling out some pretty sweet stuff as giveaway for you guys for the Q&A section. So don't want to miss it. And of course, if you can't be here, if you're not in the area, don't worry. Again, it's live. So we'll be airing it live on Facebook from 6 to 8, so you guys can check out the show. If you can't see it during that timing, not a big deal, because I think Pete won't be able to. We will be, of course, posting it later on the regular podcast channels and YouTube and stuff, too, for everybody to see. So
That'll work.
It'll be fun. Super excited about it. And all right, this is Sludge.
And Mark.
And Ruben.
Y'all have a good night.